Okay, so this is my demo lesson for the Great Gatsby lesson. All right, so let's start. So today we are going to be learning about illusion and the American dream uh, in the novel Great Gatsby for some A-level English literature. The lesson objectives today are to understand the concept of the American dream, analyze the language used by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and at the end, we're going to bring all the knowledge together and write a focused analytical paragraph. So, first thing we are looking at is what is the American dream? It's a term some of you may have heard before, but essentially, I want you guys to work in pairs and discuss this idea. So, I want you to specifically think, what is the American dream? What does success mean to you? And is money going to be a guarantee to happiness? So after I do that, they have 5 minutes, they talk, discuss them, and then I'd get the class to give me some of their answers after. Okay, then on slide four is the four pictures. I would get these students to tell me what they say in these pictures. So out of the four pictures, I'd say, what can we see in picture one? Leonardo DiCaprio. What can we see in picture two? The American flag. What can we see in picture three and picture four? The ideas of the color and the happy life, the hardworking kind of nuclear family, and get some ideas of what American life was like in the 1920s, trying to get ideas of, the kind of economic boom, the extravagant life, the focus on wealth and status, but try and get them to come up with the idea of that. The idea of the American dream is like hard work leads to this high status. Okay. Okay, so now moving on to slide five, we're going to look at some key vocabulary. So if we can look through the pictures, what can you see in these three pictures here? So we have somebody doing some housework, like a bit of laundry. We have someone doing some cleaning, and then we have a guy in a tuxedo, maybe some kind of doorman or something like that. Okay, so somebody who does this kind of work we call a servant. Okay, so servant, servant, servant. And if somebody can read this definition, a servant is someone who is employed for housework like cooking, cleaning, maintaining doors and security, that kind of thing. Okay, and then at the top of the slide we have this quote here from the novel. Can somebody read that, please? Okay, so and on Mondays, 8 servants, including an extra gardener, toiled all day with mops. Okay, so what might a servant kind of represent? Like what kind of things? If you've got servants, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be something very rich? If we look deeper at this quote, it says Gatsby, he has 8 servants on the Monday. Okay, so 8 servants is, I would ask the students what they think about like 8 servants, whether it's a lot, whether it's a few. Hopefully they're gonna say like it's a lot. Okay, and then after that, oh, so if 8 servants is a lot, what does that represent? How does that show Gatsby? It shows that Gatsby has a lot of money. There is the idea that maybe he has achieved the American dream, like he's worked hard, he now has his money, and now he doesn't need to work. He can pay people to do his like little housework. Okay, and then after that, so after we've discussed what the servants might represent, like lots of money, it would be, oh, okay, so what kind of jobs would you guys want if you were a servant? Like what work would you do, or what work would you pay a servant to do? Okay, and then so maybe some of the kids really hate doing laundry. I go, oh, okay, you'd pay someone to do your laundry if you could, and then work ideas from there. Okay, so on slide 6, we also have 3 images. What can we see in these 3 images? We see, somebody destroying a wall, and then we see a big bomb, and we also see, lots of food, kind of roughly like the remains of food at the end. Okay, so what are some words that this could be? The destruction, blowing up, whatever. Okay, so this word is probably a new word for you. This word would be ravages. Okay, ravages, ravages, ravages. So, can someone read the description of ravages? Yeah, ravages is lots of damage or destruction. Okay, and we can see the quote from the novel here, which is repairing the ravages of the night before. Okay, so uh, so if we look at ravages in the context of this novel, okay, so we have repairing the ravages of the night before, right? So in the novel, we know that Gatsby has parties pretty much every day. Like he always has a big party. So he's spending all this money every day on all these big parties. But the parties always lead to ravages. Okay? So if the parties lead to ravages, that means every party there's destruction. Like he's so if there's lots of destruction, what does that mean? Okay? Oh, lots of destruction means he's like reckless with his money. He's destroying things with his wealth and he doesn't really care because he does this every day. Okay, excellent. Well done. All right. So then, what examples of things are being like ravaged in real life right now? So if we see like this big bomb, is there anywhere in the world that's being bombed at the minute? Or America, Iran? Yeah, exactly. Excellent. So in real life right now, America is ravaging Iran with lots of destruction. Okay, excellent. Well done. Okay, so on slide number 7, we see some. What can we see in these two pictures? Okay, so ideas are is kind of like little snacks, but like very fancy. They're very small, but like lots of ingredients, and they're presented beautifully. They look, they look tasty and beautiful. Okay, excellent. All right, so these types of snacks, we call these hors d'oeuvres. Okay, hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres. So, can someone read this definition? Okay, so an hors d'oeuvre is a small bite-sized bit of food or like a little savory snack. Okay, excellent. All right. So, and we have this quote here from the novel. Okay, so on buffet tables, garnished with glistening hors d'oeuvres, spiced baked hams, crowded against salads of harlequin designs, and pastry pigs and turkeys bewitched to a dark gold. Okay, so then some analysis of hors d'oeuvres. Okay, so if we look at the pictures and we look at the description in the novel, okay, we can see that these hors d'oeuvres are made with lots of ingredients. It's taken a lot of time and care and money and manpower to make them. And even the description, okay? So we've got like spiced baked hams and harlequin designs, pastry pigs, turkeys bewitched to a dark gold. It makes it all seem very fancy, okay? Further establishing Gatsby's idea of great wealth, okay? And then also, this word is a little unique, hors d'oeuvres, okay? So this word is not English. It is a French word, okay? So we can look further, okay? If hors d'oeuvre, if Gatsby is like new money and part of the new world, where would something like hors d'oeuvres, if it's from France, where is that? Is that the new world in America or is it old world back in Europe? Okay, so they'd say, oh, it's old world, and then you can link the old world to old money. So these hors d'oeuvres are a sign of the old world and old money, and now they want to be part of the new world. Okay. Okay, and then on slide number 8, we have this picture. Lots of people playing musical instruments. So if we have lots of people playing musical instruments, what do we call that? Okay, excellent. So that is an orchestra. Orchestra, orchestra, orchestra. Okay, and then can someone read this top example from the novel, please? Okay, so by 7 o'clock, the orchestra has arrived. No thin five-piece affair, but a whole pitful of oboes, trombones, and saxophones, and viols, and cornets, and piccolos, and low and high drums. Okay, so if we look at this example from the text, okay, he says there's a whole pitfall and then lists a lot of instruments. So if there's a lot of instruments, what would that represent? Okay, so a lot of instrument represents a lot of people, a lot of expensive. So you've got a lot of people and a lot of instruments. Those people, those instruments, that's going to cost a lot of money. So it's going to be very expensive, further showing, Gatsby's high wealth and high income. Okay, and then just to tie it back to the real world, there's a few examples here of instruments uh, in an orchestra, but I would try get the students to come up with some more. So I'd see what else they might know is in an orchestra. Maybe, you could include like an opera singer or things along those lines. So I'd get them to come up with more things in an orchestra. Okay, slide 9. Okay, so on slide 9 we have what type of things can we see? We see, a woman relaxing. We see some guy on a boat also looking very relaxed, and we see things like champagne. Okay, so these things, what would they represent? Someone living a relaxed life, or with like lots of champagne. What does that mean? Okay, so we see people living a comfortable life. How do you get to, relax all day? Or you need lots of money, teacher. Okay, excellent, well done. Okay, so someone who is living like a very comfortable lifestyle, we say they are living in luxury. Okay, so luxury is comfort and expense. Okay, so it's a bit of both. All right, and then we have this extract from the novel. Okay, so Gatsby has the perfect house, lots of money, food, guests. Now worked very little. He had a life of luxury. Okay, excellent reading. Well done. Okay, so if we look at this extract, okay, it says he had a life of luxury. Okay, so what things in Gatsby's life show luxury? Like, what have we looked at today that shows Gatsby is living a life of luxury? Okay, and then they could say, oh, he can hire the orchestra, he can hire the servants, he has the parties every night. Okay, well done, students, excellent, well done. Okay. So then also, okay, you excellent discussion of the ideas of Gatsby's life. What things in your life, students, would represent luxury to you? What might you enjoy if you had all the time and money in the world? What luxuries would you give yourself? And then they might say, oh, I want the boat, I want, a big house, I want, whatever they want for luxury. Okay. Okay, and then on slide number 10, okay? So what can we see on slide number 10? So some guy is thinking, yeah, and what is he thinking? Oh, something is real, but you've got the big red cross through it, so something is not real, okay? Yeah, excellent. So this kind of stuff, if you are thinking that something is real, but it's not real, we say that is an illusion. Okay, so illusion, illusion, illusion. And then can somebody please read this definition up top, one of the lines from the novel? Okay, so he thought he saw gold in the field, but it was just an illusion. The sunlight played tricks on his mind. Okay, so what? So later on, we are going to discuss this idea of illusion in a lot more detail. But can anybody think of some examples that might be an illusion? So we have like another picture here of the circle and the spire. Okay, so this is like an optical illusion. You think that picture is moving, but it's not moving. So what other examples of illusions might there be? and then hopefully the kids come up with some ideas, like either another optical illusion or something that they thought was real, but it turns out isn't real, and they don't get, well dones across the back. Okay, so on slide 11, we have 6 words that we learned today. So can we read these words again? We have servant, servant, ravages, ravages, hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres, orchestra, orchestra, luxury, luxury, illusion, illusion. Okay, and then underneath we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences. Each one of these sentences has a missing word. Okay, so I want you guys to put these words that we just learned into the right sentence. Okay, so for this, you guys don't have to work alone. You can work together in pairs. You're gonna have about 5 minutes, but I just want to make sure you understand the meaning of these words and put them in the right places. If you guys are confused at any minute, I'm going to be walking around, but just put a hand up, say, teacher, teacher, please help me. I'll come over, I'll give you any help I can. Okay, so you've got 5 minutes, put it all together. Okay, so on slide 12, there is a copy of the pre-reading that you guys were supposed to do, pages 39 to 41, just the introduction of Gatsby's party. Okay, so on slide 13, we have our first reading task. Okay, so on this reading task, there are 4 things I want you to do. Okay, so in that extract, I want you to find 2 examples that show wealth. I want you to find 1 item that is an hors d'oeuvre. I want you to find 2 examples of luxury. And then I want you guys to find 1 instrument in the orchestra. Okay, so to go through some of the examples as well, if we look back at the sentence, 8 servants toiled all day. Okay, how is that an example of wealth? Okay, and then I'd get some ideas from the students, but then we'd lead into the fact that, so the 8 servants, it conveys wealth because it suggests that Gatsby has lots of other people to do his housework, and it implies he has worked hard, he has earned his money, and then he can now relax and let other people do his boring housework. Okay, so when you're looking for your examples, okay, I want you to use a structure similar to this. So when you're looking through your examples that show wealth, explain why it shows its wealth. When you're looking for your examples that show luxury, explain why it shows your luxury, similar to slide 14, okay? And don't remember, if you're like a bit stuck, you can use your sentence starters here. This suggests, this shows, this implies. Okay, again, for this, you've got another 5 or 10 minutes. Again, I will be walking around. If you guys are stuck, you need some help, hand up, I'm right there whenever you need me. Okay?